We're going to talk about Jared Kushner. A little bit about insight into who Jared Kushner is. Just as his role as a 36-year-old son-in-law of the president, he's already got a very expansive portfolio at the White House. We already know, for instance, that he is the White House point person on Middle East peace, and China, and Canada, and Mexico, including the construction of the wall, and trade deals, and all that entails. So now, it turns out he's going to be responsible for pretty much everything else at the White House. On top of everything else he's doing, Middle East peace. Did I mention that? That along with his job of solving problems that haven't worked themselves out in 2,000 years in regards to the Middle East and peace, you have the ISIS threat, Mexico and the wall, Canada and the cold, China and trade, and the growing threat of North Korea, and increasingly tenuous relationship there. On top of all that, he's now going to head up SWAT, as they're calling it. It's basically a SWAT team to revamp the entire U.S. government. So, such tasks included, and this was in the Washington Post on Monday, such tasks included, at least to start, the reimagining of Veteran Affairs. Oh, good. After inheriting his dad's real estate company, he definitely should be able to handle that one super fast. It's only the government's second largest agency and one of the largest organizations on Earth, responsible for the mental and physical well-being of Americans, tens of millions of veterans. So, developing his father-in-law, President Trump's, transformative projects under the banner of Trump's $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Modernizing the technology and data infrastructure of every federal department and agency. That's every fucking U.S. government agency and department. He's going to modernize the technology and data infrastructure. He also will be in charge of broadband for the entire nation. So, good old Jared's going to handle your broadband internet for the whole nation. Go Jared. Go Jared. And that's not enough. He also will be responsible for curing the opioid crisis in the United States. All Jared. That is all Jared. So, now, I'm trying to wrap my head around what President Trump was thinking. Maybe he's in an opioid crisis. I don't know. But no. I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, what the fuck qualifies? What alternative fact could, alternative universe even, could we explain Jared Kushner getting all this shit? Because, mind you, he's 36 years old, inherited his wealth, didn't do shit for it. Trust fund baby, So I kind of went through my own little theory on alternative facts, if you will. And we'll see how I do. Alright. So, first off, he's Jewish. Okay? So clearly, he's the guy that's going to fix 2,000 years of war and hatred surrounding Israel, Palestine, and the Middle East conflicts. It's his manifest destiny. It's his God-given right as a Jew to go back to his homeland and save the world. Okay, so that's, I guess, the qualification there. Trump said, "Oh, you're Jewish, you got it." So he employs Hispanics. Daddy had many servants of the Spanish heritage, and clearly that's going to be experience enough for him to handle Mexico, the wall, and Mexican relations. I also heard he makes a mean enchilada and speaks Spanish as well as a second language. Go Jared. Go Jared for president. Lord help us. Okay. Now, Jared likes to ski. His wife and him just spent last weekend skiing. Perhaps his light schedule was about to get a little heavier, so he decided to take a trip. But don't worry, he practiced spending our money. The Secret Service ski and equipment rentals, were just $14,000. That's it. So, what's important about this? Okay, see, you ski in the cold weather. Follow me. When the ground is covered with snow and ice, that's where you ski. Okay? Canada's cold, and often is covered with snow and ice. That counts. Let's give him fucking Canada too. Okay? Broadband, technology, and data infrastructure. Well, legend has it that he once had to hook up his own modem while at boarding school, to which he showed a lot of promise. Young Jared was good at plugging in that modem, so Trump knows success is repetition. 2 travel bans, boom. 2 federal court protecting our democracy and shooting his ass down. Knowing that, he believes Jared can take that experience at boarding school and repeat it nationwide. Plus, if Jared ends up being a total loser and can't, guarantee our broadband, hey, we don't have to worry about Russia probes anymore because they won't be able to hack shit. We won't have a fucking internet. So, that's good too. Okay? Veteran affairs. This one took a little thinking. So, we have a lot of veterans in this country. And the programs they utilize and deserve are primarily funded from other people's money. Like through taxes, obviously, okay? Jared has taken care of himself with other people's money his whole life. Thanks, Mom. Okay? So that would explain that. He's good at spending other people's money. The opioid epidemic. Now, like Veterans Affairs, the opioid epidemic actually shares some common ground with what congressmen that hate people, or the far right, overlap in what we call entitlements. Okay? So specifically Medicaid expansion. So Medicaid takes care of a lot of vets. It also has an expansion program under Obamacare that has treatment set up for the opioid epidemic, which is now killing more teens and young adults than guns and car accidents combined. Jared is a young adult. He doesn't want to die. He's got incentive to solve this problem. But anyway, back to the entitlements. Jared knows entitlements. He's been entitled his whole fucking life. And again, I already alluded to this earlier, but lastly, someone could argue that the president might be suffering from some kind of opiate abuse, given the unqualified trust fund baby that he has basically entrusted to do every fucking thing in our government. Okay, so let's summarize what we learned. On top of being in charge of Mexico, China, Canada, trade deals, Jared also will be providing broadband internet service to every American, fighting the opioid addiction, Trump's $1 trillion infrastructure plan, modernizing technology and data infrastructure of every federal department, and reimagining veteran affairs. Reimagining veteran affairs. Well worded. That's according to the Washington Post on March 26th. That's pretty exciting. Anyway, let's all say prayers for Jared tonight, because Jared's got a lot of shit going on. And as always, check out my other videos, and thanks a lot. Thank God no one was hurt earlier, but you'll see after this little segment here, there will be a little outtake of where I almost got eaten by a vacuum cleaner while filming. But thankfully nobody was hurt. But he's also a rat.